Welcome to NYNJPA Weather, your severe weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. This morning we're going to start in the tropics, to be specific, the Bay of Campeche, which is basically the southern portions of the Gulf of Mexico. And we have an interesting disturbance starting to develop in the Bay of Campeche. It has a 1007 millibar low that is developing and slowly drifting to the west-northwest. I'm expecting this disturbance to become a tropical depression within the next 48 hours and then track towards the northern Mexican or southern Texas coast, depending on the position of upper-level winds. Now, for the most part, upper-level winds are weak, which means that wind shear is weak and that this disturbance will have a potential to develop over the next couple of hours. And the way that the convection is developing rapidly in the Bay of Campeche at this time, I would not be surprised if we see a tropical depression officially form by 11 or 5 p.m. I know a Hurricane Air Force investigator is going into this area of disturbed weather, and we should have more information on this disturbance by this afternoon and evening. So it's clearly something to keep an eye on. Even though I don't think it's going to become a strong tropical system, the remnant moisture will have an impact on the forecast going forward, especially after the holiday weekend. Closer to home, we have a warm front approaching the northern Mid-Atlantic. Now, currently, there are plenty of clear skies from Connecticut all the way to the Delaware River. I'm expecting clouds to continue to increase with a threat of a few isolated to widely scattered showers, even more of an isolated thunderstorm for this afternoon as this warm front moves north. The cold front that is way back in the Ohio River Valley will move to the west and reach the northern Mid-Atlantic tonight. I'm expecting a line of showers and thunderstorms, but really this setup is not conducive for severe weather at this time. Basically, one of the limiting factors is the fact that the mid-level thermal gradient, the lapse rate, is not really all that impressive. It's rather weak, and there really isn't much in the way of any strong wind shear with this approaching cold front as well. In fact, the majority of the upper level lifting is actually focused more into Canada and less towards the northern Mid-Atlantic, so I really don't expect any type of widespread severe weather outbreak. I can't rule out an isolated severe thunderstorm, especially over parts of eastern Pennsylvania, especially if some of these low clouds break up to the south of the warm front. But other than that, really it's going to be your typical cold front passage this evening with a few showers and thunderstorms. The cold front exits the northern Mid-Atlantic early tomorrow morning, followed by clearing skies and high pressure taking over. The European model guidance from the Penn State EWOL website continues to illustrate the potential for a significant warm-up to the pattern. Well, let's just say it's going to be hot and humid by the time we reach this weekend. For tomorrow on through Friday, high pressure will be centered over the eastern Great Lakes and move towards the Mid-Atlantic coast. We do have a weak disturbance that will be moving through the northern plains and reach the northern Mid-Atlantic by Saturday night into early Sunday morning. But this disturbance will not be much of a problem for the northern Mid-Atlantic. A few isolated showers late Saturday night to early Sunday morning, pretty much around midnight to 2 a.m. Really won't have much of a significant impact on plans if you have any outdoor activities, and really won't pack much of a punch as far as showers or thunderstorms is concerned. In fact, aside from the lower portions of the atmosphere increasing in humidity, the mid and upper level portions of the atmosphere will be relatively dry, and the majority of the lifting will be focused well north of Canada. So I really don't expect much in the way of an impact. Moving towards 4th of July, you can see high pressure will be shifted off the coast and will be under the influence of a strong southwesterly wind at almost all levels of the atmosphere. This means that for this holiday weekend into 4th of July itself, it's going to be hazy, hot, and humid, with temperatures in the upper 80s to lower 90s. I would not be surprised if we see a few mid-90s, especially in the Philadelphia metropolitan area and parts of southwestern New Jersey. I think the model guidance is underdoing this warm-up just a bit, and I think that right now the high point is the mid-90s, especially again for the Delaware River Valley. Now, remember where I mentioned the tropical disturbance? Well, this is where it gets a little bit interesting, because the upper level pattern would suggest that there's a corridor over the southern plains up to the Great Lakes that would take that moisture sitting over the Gulf Coast and shoot it up towards the Great Lakes ahead of this next cold front that we're going to have to watch for the middle part of next week. Could produce a nice little heavy rainfall, or at least a nice severe weather outbreak when you add that deep tropical moisture ahead of this advancing cold front. Another point to keep an eye on, which I find rather interesting, is that high pressure is pretty much in control at the upper levels from California all the way to the western Atlantic. In fact, the majority of the disturbances associated with the polar jet stream have finally locked into Canada, and there really isn't much of a trough in the east. In fact, for the most part, as far as the polar jet is concerned, we are in a zonal pattern with a subtropical high pressure system dominating much of the United States and the western Atlantic. That not only means an increase to the potential for hot and humid conditions to linger for quite some time, but it also means that there could be an increase in tropical development that we're going to keep an eye on as we move into July. Should be a rather interesting month, that is for sure, especially with all the predictions of an active hurricane season. So it's something to keep an eye on. This type of pattern would certainly support the potential for more tropical disturbances and tropical influences to impact the United States. Something to keep an eye on. Thank you for trusting in NYNJPA Weather as your severe weather source for the Northern Mid-Atlantic. As always, you can keep up with the latest with NYNJPA Weather on Twitter, Facebook, and of course at nyNJPAweather.com. I'm your meteorologist, Stephen DiMartino. Have a great day.